what's up, YouTube family? Welcome back to Market Grounding with Lydell and Amp. Please, guys, don't forget to subscribe, like, hit that notification bell so you guys can get these videos as soon as we post them. All right, so thanks for tuning in again. Today, guys, we're going to be talking about chart reading, which is definitely a fundamental when you guys are trying to invest in the market. So we're going to take you guys through and hope you guys some of these tips will be good for you guys to learn on your journey to becoming wealthy within the market. All right. So, so today we're talking about chart reading. So, what is a chart and why is it important when you're investing in the market?
All right, a chart is a technical indicator of a stock's historical movement. So what I'll do, I'll walk you guys through. First of all, I'll walk you guys through how to get to a stock chart on your phone. And we're on an iPhone, so maybe a little different on the Android. So from your home screen, swipe down from the middle in the search bar, start typing the word stock, and then you should get a icon that says stocks, and that's your Apple stock icon. Click on that, and it comes pre-installed on all Apple iPhones. So click on that, and that should bring up your stocks with the date. So now you have an additional search bar. Click in that search bar, type in the company that you want to look for. Today, for an example, we're going to use Facebook. So start typing in Facebook, and it should populate for you. You see here in the top line, it populates Facebook, ticker symbol FB. So we'll click on that ticker symbol, and now it brings up the chart. We're showing a 6-month chart here. I'll go down to a 1-day chart, and then we'll get into the questions. So what are some of the questions you had about charts, Lydell?
All right, so first question that you guys probably hear a lot is, why is it important to use a chart when you guys are investing in the market? Like what is the chart used for?
So what is a chart used for? So here again, we're looking at Facebook's chart. This is the 1 day. You see that this whole chart is red, and it has a starting point at about over to the right. You'll see some numbers. Those represent dollar signs. Okay. So that top number is 319.73. So that's $319.73. The bottom number is 316.86. So that's $316.86. That shows that the stock opened on, this is a 1-day chart. Today's Saturday, so this is Friday's data. That shows that the stock opened at $319, and it sold off and closed at $316. So that was like a $3 loss for Facebook that day. Okay. So that's what we're seeing now. So why is that important? Because it establishes a entry point, right? You seen, if you're doing day trading, since we're looking at a day chart, if we're doing day trading, you can look where the chart, where the stock started out at 319. You probably would have not wanted to get in at 319 because you would end up losing $3 per share on that particular company. Another tool on this chart is, if you touch the screen, you see the chart goes blue. Yep. And you can scroll left or right, and it'll show the amount of Facebook stock during the day. So right now, May 21st, 2021 at 9:55 a.m. The stock market opens at 8. The stock market opens at 9:30. It kind of, as I scroll across, you can see the blue number changing. That's my price going up, and I hit a peak at 319 around 11:27 a.m. And then if you just keep scrolling over, you can see that the stock started to drop down after that to around 317, and then we had another small spike during that day. It went up to 318, and then the stock started to trend down all the way down to 316. So why is this important, right? So if I look at this trend for today, and I look at it tomorrow, and I look at it the next day, so I look at 3 or 4 days in a row, and you can come up with your own time period. But if you look at it 3 or 4 days in a row, and you see, wow, every morning Facebook opens high and trends low by the end of the day. So now it puts you in a position that you can say, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to purchase I'm going to purchase Facebook stock at the end of the day and wait for it to run up the next day to make a quick profit. Yep. Or I'm going to purchase Facebook stock at the beginning of the day in a put option and wait for it to run down and make profit. So it just gives you data to help set up a trade. Is that helpful?
That's helpful. So, but we do need to establish, like when you were saying put, so that our viewers will understand what a put is. So, to make money that type of way. So instead of just because it is trying to buy the stock.
So a put is an options contract where you're betting that the stock is going to decline. And I won't go deep into puts and calls and options right now because that's an entire different category, and it takes some time to kind of understand that. But just know when you hear people say they're shorting the stock, that's what they're doing. They're buying a put in hopes that the stock goes down.
Yeah. All right. So what's the at the top the 1 day? I mean, I know what it is, but the 1D, the W, the M. So
So the 1D represents a 1 day chart, and that's what we're looking at here. If I click on the 1W, that represents a 1 week chart.
Yep.
So and just looking at this 1 week chart, you can see that we were around 314 or 313 at the beginning of the week, and we had a huge dip to 307 on May 19th, and then the stock started to trend back up. By May 20th, we were back at 316, and then the stock, what I would call when stocks do this, from 317 out to basically 317 in 2 days, from the 20th to the 21st, we call that a stock trending sideways. So basically the stock went up to 317 and just went sideways from there. So those are the additional tools that you need when you start thinking about, hey, is this a trade I should get in? How long should I stay in this trade? Yeah. So if I'm looking at the 1 week, I'm thinking that a great place to buy Facebook is at 305 or 306, and it has the potential, and it's not the same every time. Just because it went to 317 this week doesn't mean it's going to go to 317 every week. So it does have the potential to go 317. So now I can kind of set my trading strategy up based on that. So that's the 1 week, and then we can also look at the 1 month, and this shows what Facebook has been doing for the entire month. Beginning of the month, Facebook was at 301. The end of the month, Facebook was at 318. So it's about a $17 increase. But you also look at Facebook had hit a high of around 329 during that week as well, and Facebook hit a low of 298. That's just the volatility in it, and that's another teaching point when you think about investing in stocks, because most things don't just go straight up. So if you'd have bought it at 301 and it hit 329, it's like great. I made a great purchase. But then if you held on to it, and which if you're a long-term investor, you're going to hold on to it, and then it drops down to 298. Being that you understand the chart, you don't panic there, right? If you're a long-term investor, you would probably pick up more shares at that point. You know what I mean? To add to your position. But if you don't understand the charts, you don't understand the trends, you may panic and start selling off your positions, and then you lose money, and then the stock takes back off and goes back to 322. So that's the one month, and then the 3M, that is the 3 month. And if you look at Facebook from a 3 month standpoint, it is all green, starting out at around $254 per share and ending at 318 where we are now. So that's about from 264 to 318. You know what I mean? You're looking at what, $40-50 increase there. So, and that's per share. So that's another indicator. So how long do I want to hold my position? Do I want to do a 3 month position? Do I want to do a 1 day position? Do I want to do a 2 week position? And when I look at the 3 months, I'm saying if it takes Facebook about 3 months to move $40 to $50. You know what I mean? So it gives you a bird's eye view of what this stock is doing. Now, all of this is historic data, but you use this historical data to plan future data based on the trend. You know, if you have a friend or you have kids, you get to know them, right? And you know when your kid's lying, right? Every time he comes in the house and starts talking and he stutters, he's probably lying, right? If you determine that, dang, little Johnny told me this and he started stuttering and it was a lie. So once he does that over and over, that's a trend. So now when he comes to the house, now one time he may not be lying, but most of the time when he comes in the house and he stutters when he's explaining something, he's not telling you the truth. So the same thing with the stock reading. 3 months, Facebook normally trends up in a 3 month time period. It may not the next 3 months, but if you see this consistently, 3 months after 3 months after 3 months, it's safe to say that, oh man, I can put my money in at this point and I'm gonna be at a higher point in 3 months. It's safe to say that. So that's how you think about the trends, and that's how you read the trends. So the next one we'll look at is the 6M or 6 month chart. So 6 month chart, you'll see again, we're still trending up, but you see a lot of volatility. You see Facebook being at 276, dropping back down to 255, and then hitting a peak of 325, and then kind of trending sideways and getting us to where we are now, around 318. You know what I mean? So again, it looking at the chart lets you know what to expect, so you're not surprised. You don't buy it at $200, and when it drops down to, you don't buy it at $281, and then it drops down to 264 or actually to 245. You don't panic because you've seen the trend. You've seen that Facebook has high volatility and it has large drops, but it also goes on runs and it eventually goes higher. So those are the things that you want to look at when you're internalizing and getting familiar with these charts. And then we'll look at the 1 year, again, trending up smoothly with a lot of volatility. Then the 2 year trending up with a big dip here. And if you look at this dip, it's around March 27th. Of course, we all know that was pandemic time, so all stocks kind of trended down during that time. So, but if you would have purchased Facebook here at 158, you would now be like more than double your money at 313. Almost triple your money at 313 if you would have bought at the low and rode it up to the high. You know what I mean? But of course, there are some valleys and peaks in there as well. But look where we are right now. And then I'll get out to the 5 year, the 5 year. And if you look at the trend, it's trending higher. So the best thing that the 5 year shows me, because you can probably look at 5 year on 80% of the stocks in the stock market, and they're probably higher. So 5 year is an indicator for me, not just from a technical standpoint, just from a methodology standpoint of how I invest. I like to invest long term. So through all these peaks and valleys, here I could have sold out and lost. Here I could have sold out and lost. But if I hold long, the stock normally trends higher. 98% of the time, the stock trends higher. So again, in 5 years, you spent $113, and now this particular stock is at $316. So you're making almost 3 times your money, on just by buying it and holding long. So that kind of explains that top line with the 1 day, the 1 week, the 3 month, the 6 months, up to a 5 year.
Right. So, as not generally on this one though, but a lot of times you'll see a lot of red and green. So I know it's kind of common to know what the red and green is. So just explain that just a little bit for the new viewers who may not understand. They go back to a month, why it would be red at that moment or something, like the 1 day showing that it's red, but all the rest of the time it's showing that it's green. What that would tell you if you want to purchase the stock.
So, red and green is just a quick indicator to show you. If it's green, it shows you that the stock was increasing in price. If it's red, it shows you that the stock was decreasing in price. As we look at this, like I explained earlier, if you look at this 1 day chart, it shows that the stock started out at 319 and it fell down to 316. So that means that the stock lost. It's sold off. That's what we're calling that. The stock sold off. And when things sell off, and they don't close as high as they open, And when I say open and close, if I hadn't explained that, open and close is when the market opens, this is the price, and when the market closes, this is the price. If the price at closing is lower than the price at open, it goes red and you'll see a downward trend. And if it's vice versa, the stock at open, if the stock opens higher than it closed the previous day, the stock will open in the green and it'll trend up green if you're going to a higher close.
All right, that's great. So, what's going on? We got a lot of stuff going on around this information. What around this information that we should use that is valuable to us purchasing this particular stock, whether it's Facebook or any other stock? So, any of this information here is important that we need to know.
So a couple things are important. So when we're looking at the chart, if we start from the very top, that's just you see a ticker, just scrolling across. That's what we call a ticker. So that's just showing other companies and did they open and close higher or lower during a certain time period. Then you come down beneath that, you'll see the FB, Facebook Incorporated. So that shows the Facebook ticker symbol, unless you know what chart you're looking at, what company you're looking at. The next line below that, it shows at close. That shows where Facebook closed at. Facebook closed at 316.23. So at close is the last price that Facebook was, and that's 316.23. So that's the price you could buy Facebook at right now. The negative 2.38 shows that we opened $2.38 higher. So we lost $2.38 on Facebook today if we own Facebook. And then after hours, so like I said, the market's open and you'll see at close and then you'll see after hours. So the market opens at 9:30, but there's pre-market, which there's some trading activity that starts around 4 a.m. that with certain apps you can get in and you can trade pre-market. So then you get the market open, and that's when everybody is able to get into the market. And we open at 316, but then the market closed. The market closes at 4 o'clock. So after 4 o'clock, most time at 4 o'clock, everybody else who's trading, the market shuts down and you're no longer allowed to trade. But the market continues to trade after hours up until around 8 o'clock. So this shows the after hour movement. So if you own Facebook, we closed at 316, and then after hours, after the 4 o'clock period, Facebook went down another 4 cents. That's what the after hours represents. I just explained the 1 day to the 5 year, and then you get into the actual chart portion, and the chart actually shows the line trend. There are two types of charts, I guess. Specifically, you have the line chart. That's what we're looking at here. And then you also have a candlestick chart. Candlestick chart, that's another training. There's a candlestick chart, shows kind of hour by hour, minute by minute, opening and closing of a stock in a candlestick form. And we'll go over that in another video. That's a course in itself, how to read the candlestick charts. But if you look over to your right, this is the dollar amount. The high amount was 319, the low amount was 316. And then if you look at the bottom, you have 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. That's 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. That's a timeline that we're showing there. So, and then underneath that, you have some indicators. That's these very little small lines and little spikes, and it's very small. What they're showing there is directly underneath your time. What that is showing, that's showing volume. That's showing, if you look at the chart, if you look here where the dot is, it shows like a spike, and if you look right underneath the time, it shows a long line. So that means and different charts show it different ways. A lot of charts, this right here is color coded as well, so that means that you had a lot of selling volume and a lot of people sold, so it spiked down, and then it went kind of sideways for a while, and that shows us trending back up to about the halfway point of where we sold off. And then if you look at after the 3 o'clock, you get another small spike where it sold off again and it spiked down again. So that's your volume area. And then the area underneath, which shows the open, the high, the low. That's just basically breaking down everything that I just explained in one area. And then you have volume. That's 13.60 million, and that's the number of shares that were traded in and out on that particular day. PE is price to earnings ratio, and that's a number that we look at to see if the stock is oversold or overbought. And then you have market cap, which is I think 896.7 billion. And that just shows the number of shares that Facebook has to offer. We've covered that in a couple other videos when we talk about large cap and small cap, and that's market cap. So that shows that Facebook is a big boy, well over 10 billion shares. And then you have the 52-week high. That means in the last year, the highest Facebook has been is $331. You have the 52-week low, which is read out in 52 WL. WL being week low, WH meaning week high, and it shows where Facebook has been at his lowest point, and that's $207 per share. And then you have your average volume. So just look at the volume for the day at 13.6 million, and then they just average it out for the year. What kind of volume does Facebook normally average? Facebook averages normally around 20. So that day it shows Facebook had lower than normal volume. So a lot of people not in and out of Facebook on that particular day. And then you have earnings per share, and that's earnings per share. It just kind of calls out like for every share that Facebook has. Like Facebook, like right now we're saying Facebook is at $319. From the last time that they reported, Facebook earned about $11.57 per share. So I mean that if you own Facebook at the low, or if you own Facebook prior to earnings, they added to their equity by 11.56 or $67. So $11.67. And then you have beta. Beta is volatility. So beta is one of the Greeks, and we'll get into the Greeks on a later video, but it's more like volatility, like how volatile was Facebook when it's going up or when it's going down. So that's another thing that you want to look at, because volatility is where you make your money or where you lose your money, depending on where you get in at. So if we looking at this chart again, we think about volatility. We had a spike from 319 down to 316. Now, if you own enough shares or enough contracts on this, that's a lot of money you could have made, or a lot of money that you could have lost. They got other companies that may have lower volatility. That means that the stock kind of trends sideways. It doesn't go up and down in big chunks. It just kind of sits around 100, 105, 108, 100, 105. One kind of does that thing. And depending on your trading strategy, you want to look at that to determine, like, how do I buy, when do I buy, how much do I buy. So if you're looking for a stock that you just want to hold for dividends, you like low volatility, because your number kind of the stock price kind of stays consistent. So that gives you a longer period of time to buy in. If you're looking for stocks that you want to take profit on, like early, you want to, this is just my opinion, you want to look for high volatility, because then you look at the trend, and then you decide when do you get in, and there's a great possibility that if you get in low, it's going to spike up high. And think about from a volatility standpoint, Facebook 52-week low was $207. The 52-week high was $351. That's like I said, that's almost 3 times your money. So that's how you think about the volatility curve. Does that answer your questions?
It did. So that's great information, guys. So please make sure that you guys familiarize yourself with learning how to read these charts, because you don't want to be in a situation, and a lot of times a person will come to you and say, hey, why are you not buying this particular stock? Because I go look at the chart. I had a friend that said the other day, hey, this particular company, why aren't you buying it? I said, okay, let me look at the charts. And the charts help me determine that company's not doing so well. So why would I invest in it just because he said it? Now, if you beginners, a lot of time you hear from peers or friends or whoever say, hey, I'm gonna buy this particular stock. So if you don't know how to read these charts, you end up buying it, you end up losing money. You can only fault yourself. So we hope we help you guys out today. We're gonna go over the candlestick charts at some point, and that will help you guys continue to learn how to read these items, so you guys can learn how to build wealth on your own. So But that's it for us today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave us a comment if you guys know anything that we should go over. We are greatly appreciated. But thanks for tuning in. Keep grinding.